Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Miller. Bio-guided music therapy is the use of real-time physiological data to inform music therapy intervention. There's a great story I often tell about how I got into biofeedback. I was working as a counselor at Valley Forge Medical Center, and Tracy, the director of social work, had a biofeedback set up in her office. I was very curious about it and was very excited to hear that she was about to start an in-service training in biofeedback for the nurses. I asked her if I could join in, but she said no, that it was only for the nursing staff, not counselors. I continued to ask her about it, and finally she relented and agreed to let me join the session. On the day of the first training class, I arrived early, and as it turned out, none of the nurses showed up, and I was able to work with Tracy individually. I ended up continuing to study biofeedback with her and became board certified with Tracy as my supervisor.
Listen for the synth brain tones jamming over the coda and cello.
Yes, any music therapist can do it on some level. However, some training might be helpful. BGMT works by returning the client's data in visual displays, such as colored bars or graphs, or even fractal designs, as well as sounds that represent their physiological indicators. I have a video link from biofeedback.net that shows some examples of these displays. Technology has been advancing quickly, but there really has been no update on the juncture of biofeedback and music therapy since Joseph Scartelli wrote about it over 20 years ago in 1989. A book that synthesizes this combination has been long overdue. As Norman Shealy, MD, writes in his foreword, "The marriage of music and biofeedback is one made in heaven. It represents the best integration of two powerful self-regulation approaches to health and illness." I'm sometimes puzzled as to why this hasn't already been written, but have come to realize that to go deep into this synthesis, one really must have accumulated a good amount of clinical experience in both music therapy and in biofeedback. Surprisingly, there are not that many practitioners that share certifications in both disciplines. The impact of BGMT is wide-ranging and cuts across many treatment populations. In this book, I focus on several client groups. However, many more may be treated as well. Yes, the sound of it may come across as high-tech or somehow technologically intimidating. However, I think this is one of those cases where it's just plain cumbersome to write about and much easier to do it. If you tried to describe the theory and mechanisms of a modern cell phone, just imagine how high-tech and incomprehensible it might appear. Yet cell phones have become fairly ubiquitous, and even young kids use them regularly. There are numerous ways to integrate BGMT into normal clinical settings, using both wired and wireless devices. Each particular situation may require some creativity on the part of the clinician, or consultation with an experienced researcher practitioner. My hope is that readers will take away the idea that bio-guided music therapy is not just a good way to document the physiological impact of music therapy sessions, but that the process itself is a vital and dynamic form of music therapy in its own right. BGMT offers the unique opportunity to craft a music therapy session in real time based on the client's physical responses. I also hope my readers are inspired to use BGMT as a starting point for their own explorations, research, and protocol development.